Today, we will dive into one of the most profound and rarely discussed mysteries of the Bible, the battle between Satan and the Archangel Michael over the body of Moses. This fascinating story, briefly mentioned in the New Testament, has intrigued scholars and theologians for centuries. But what was really at stake? Why was Satan interested in Moses' body? Stay with us as we explore the details, theories, and spiritual significance behind this unique event. The first thing we need to understand is the context of Moses' death. Moses was Israel's great liberator, the man chosen by God to lead his people out of Egypt and guide them to the Promised Land. After 40 years of challenges in the wilderness, Moses was taken to Mount Nebo, where he could see the Promised Land but was not allowed to enter due to a previous mistake. However, his death was unlike any other man's. The Bible tells us in Deuteronomy 34 verses 5 to 6 that Moses died there on the mountain, but his burial was directly supervised by God. An impressive fact is that the exact location where he was buried was never revealed, remaining a divine secret. Now here is where the mystery intensifies. The story of the dispute over Moses' body is mentioned in Jude, verse 9. There, we read that Satan and the Archangel Michael argued over the body of Moses. However, instead of engaging in a direct confrontation with the devil, Michael simply said, "The Lord rebuke you." But why would the devil be interested in Moses' body? To understand this, we need to remember the importance Moses had for the people of Israel. He wasn't just a leader. He was the voice of God to the people, the lawgiver, the prophet. Moses' body, if it had been discovered, could have been turned into an idol, something Satan would certainly use to divert the focus from God and lead the people into idolatry. Satan has always been a master of distorting truth, and in this case, his intent could have been to mislead God's people. Moses, a figure so respected and beloved, carried immense emotional and spiritual weight for Israel. Imagine the power Satan would have had if he managed to turn Moses' body into an object of worship. It would be a way to corrupt Moses' legacy and divert the Israelites from true faith in God. Satan always works cunningly, often disguising his intentions with something seemingly harmless or even spiritual, but with the ultimate goal of leading people away from God. On the other hand, we have the Archangel Michael, who in Christian theology is seen as the great protector of God's people and one of the most powerful among the angels. Michael knew that Moses' body should not be used as a tool of spiritual deception, which is why he intervened. But instead of engaging in a physical or verbal battle with Satan, Michael used a different tactic. He simply invoked God's authority, saying, "The Lord rebuke you." This statement is deeply significant because it shows that the ultimate power lies in God's hands, and even a powerful angel like Michael does not rely on his own strength, but on divine authority. This passage teaches us a lot about the dynamics of spiritual warfare. First, it reveals that even in the most delicate matters, such as the fate of Moses' body, a spiritual dimension is at play. The battle between good and evil is not limited to what we can see or understand. Secondly, it reminds us that Satan is always seeking ways to divert God's people, whether through false idols or the corruption of sacred figures. However, Michael's response teaches us that spiritual conflict is not won through brute force or arguments, but through God's authority. This story also raises other questions. Why did God hide Moses' body in the first place? It's likely that God, in his infinite wisdom, knew that the people of Israel, who had already shown a tendency toward idolatry, could turn Moses' tomb into a place of worship. This is something we see throughout human history. Many times, people turn the tombs of great leaders or spiritual figures into places of worship, drifting away from true faith. By hiding Moses' body, God was protecting his people from falling into this trap. Satan, knowing this, attempted to seize Moses' body for his own purposes, but God, through Michael, prevented that from happening. The Bible gives us few details about this event, leaving room for much speculation. Some scholars believe that this struggle may have occurred in the spiritual realm, away from human eyes, while others suggest that there could have been a physical dimension involved. Either way, the fact that Satan was interested in Moses' body highlights the spiritual importance of this biblical figure. The devil, knowing Moses' influence, wanted to corrupt that influence for his own ends, but God, in his sovereignty, prevented it from happening. This story also makes us reflect on the role of angels in protecting God's people. The Archangel Michael is described in the Bible as a spiritual warrior, always interceding in times of crisis. His battle with Satan over Moses' body is just one of many times he appears as a defender of the faithful. And the fact that he does not engage in a physical or argumentative battle with Satan, but simply invokes God's authority shows that true strength lies in submission to God's will. In summary, the dispute over Moses' body reveals much about the nature of the spiritual battle that continues to happen around us. It is a story that reminds us of the importance of faithfulness to God and vigilance against Satan's schemes. We are always bringing to light hidden mysteries and deep revelations that help us better understand biblical history and the spiritual world around us.